What is up, everybody? Oh, let me fix that. There we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Voice of Wrestling live SummerSlam post show. It's just gonna be myself tonight. Bill's not feeling well, so it's just gonna be me going solo here. But a lot to talk about after what was honestly a really, really good SummerSlam. I enjoyed the hell out of it. There's a lot to talk about, so we'll get right into it with what ended the show. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Guys, those of you who are checking us out already, definitely feel free to interact in the chat. Definitely want to hear what you guys thought of SummerSlam and all the matches as we go through here. But a lot to unpack here. So, Roman Reigns finally defeated Brock Lesnar to become the Universal Champion. It seemed logical that is what was going to happen. But you never know. I mean, it seemed logical for Roman to beat Brock at WrestleMania, and it didn't happen there. So, but Roman's finally did it. In the crowd, he got a pretty decent reaction, especially considering where it was at, that it's a SummerSlam crowd, which is generally, one of those quote-unquote smart crowds. And he got a good pop. They did the whole thing with Braun Strowman teasing that he said he was going to cash in after the match, but they'd set up the angle where Brock and Roman pretty much took him out during the match, so we didn't get that cash in like we thought we were going to. But I think that was smart because it kind of got the crowd really hyped up for that match, so it was really a smart way of doing it. The match itself, there's not a whole lot to really get too much into. It was a quick match. Mainly, it was just finishers. I mean, that's pretty much all it was. It'll be interesting. More likely than not, this was Brock Lesnar's last match in the WWE. Could not be. We might see him later sometime down the road, but most likely this is the last time we see Brock Lesnar compete inside a WWE ring. So he put Roman over. Roman's finally the champion. And yeah, I mean, we're finally going to have a Universal Champion on Raw every single week, which we haven't had in over a year, almost a year and a half. So that's exciting. That for Raw should be a lot better because of that. So definitely excited about that. All right, so we'll make our way through the card here. Jesus Christ. Let me just do this. Sorry, guys, a little technical difficulties. There we go. All right, so the next match that we're going to break down here is Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss. Rousey, of course, for those of you who watched and for those who didn't, spoiler alert, Rousey defeated Alexa Bliss with a vicious armbar. Yeah, hey D'Angelo, welcome, man. Yeah, I didn't expect a long match with Roman and Brock, but it was definitely quicker than I thought. It went down differently than I thought, but it was different than all their other matches. I'll give them that. Getting back to Alexa and Rousey. Rousey, of course, defeated Alexa to become the new Raw Women's Champion. I was talking about that armbar. Alexa Bliss is like double jointed or something, so she can twist her arm and everything in different ways that most people can't. And I mean, it looked like it hurt. It looked vicious. It was pretty much a squash match. I mean, Alexa got a little bit of offense in, but it was pretty much just Rousey. And it was a little colluded there because you had Natalya came up. She got a great pop from the crowd. Of course, her father passed away about a week and a half ago, so the crowd gave her a great reaction. And then you had Nikki and Brie Bella at ringside, and then they came in and they celebrated with Rousey after the match. For those of you who haven't heard, we broke this story on the Voice of Wrestling earlier today. There are rumors that at Evolution, it is going to be Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. And that's what's going to main event the pay-per-view. So it seemed very plausible. But what they were doing tonight is setting the siege for that match, and there was no turn, there was no fight or anything like that. It was just I think they just wanted to get them on camera together and start to plant the seeds of that match moving forward, which we still have about 2 months until we get to that point anyway. So, but Rousey, again, she looked good. I will say this was probably the worst match she's had since she's been in the WWE. By no means was it bad. She didn't put on a bad performance at all. It just wasn't anything to me that was overly fantastic about it. But again, I mean, Ronda Rousey's still a fantastic worker in the ring already. She's just been doing this for probably about a year, realistically. So, Rousey's our new Raw Women's Champion. And I'm curious to see where they go. I mean, they got a lot. Obviously, at Evolution, if it is Nikki Bella, they got to start planning setting that up. And now that Rousey's the champion, I'm really curious to see how often we get to see Ronda. Hopefully, it's more of a consistent weekly basis. But we don't. You never know. But I think we're definitely going to see her more than we see Brock Lesnar. I'll be curious to see if she competes at Hell in a Cell next month. But not a whole lot to talk about here with Ronda and Alexa. So we're going to move on here, and I'm not really doing these in any particular order, guys. Just kind of going through. And the Bludgeon Brothers versus the New Day. It was a nice little tag team match. Some couple cool spots, especially from Xavier Woods saying that elbow drop from the top of the ring all the way down to the floor. But a little, I don't really necessarily know why they finished it this way. Finished up with a DQ finish with Eric Rowan hitting, I believe it was Woods with the club that they have. So that was it was a disappointing finish because it was a pretty good match. I would assume that this feud continues. Anytime they do a DQ finish, you're pretty much guaranteed to have that feud continue. But the match itself was a nice little tag team match. It was better than I expected it to be. So that's always a good thing is when you get to see something that's better than you expect going in. But I don't feel like the Bludgeon Brothers are a really good tag team for the WWE because I find them just boring. And they're both good. Harper's a very good worker. Rowan's not bad. And the SmackDown roster just has such a good tag team division. It's honestly something that I wouldn't mind seeing the title change hands like every 2 to 3 months. Because you got the New Day, you got the Bludgeon Brothers, you got the Usos, you got the Bar. You have really good tag teams there. Or you got Gallows and Anderson. So it just seems like they're dominating the tag team division, and I don't think they're the best tag team. I think they're probably, of all those teams I mentioned, they're probably the 4th or 5th best tag team. So I really expected the New Day to win here. I thought it would have been nice to see them get a run. They haven't had the titles in a while, so. But it is what it is. D'Angelo Rousey whipped her like a government mule. Though the pop for Natty was nice, there really was no point of her being out there since Alicia Fox wasn't ringside to potentially interfere. I agree. I mean, there wasn't a point, but she didn't get involved in any way, so I didn't have a problem with it. I think she was there. They wanted to get her that nice pop from the crowd, and and it's also continuing the story of Natalya and Ronda being really good friends, and setting up that match down the road, where I'm assuming Natalya will eventually turn on Ronda, and we'll get that match maybe at maybe the Royal Rumble, around that time frame. But I didn't have a problem with it because she didn't get involved in any way. That's what I would go with. All right, now let's talk about with the Bludgeon Brothers and the New Day. To be honest, solid tag team match, but let's get on to some bigger fish to fry. On to what was going into this pay-per-view. This was the match I was most interested in seeing. Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. It's one of those stories that is just, it's been a slow build, and they weren't necessarily trying to build towards. It's one of those things that almost organically happened. 8 years in the making. I mean, we've seen these two fight years ago, but this was different. Miz is at a completely different level. Daniel Bryan's at a completely different level in their careers. the match itself was really good, really solid. They told a great story. They had plenty of time. The thing that really surprised me about this match, and I'm curious what you guys thought, the crowd was really, really pretty dead for this match. It was for what, and this crowd was kind of up and down throughout the night. I mean, they definitely when they pop big, but it was interesting that they just didn't really seem to care too much about this matchup. For the most part, it was quiet. Maybe it was just the structure of the match. Like they didn't do a lot of high spots. It was very mat based, but just really, really solid match. This kind of just shows you that Daniel Bryan really is one of the best in the world, and the Miz isn't far behind. You're happy, Milo? Your boy won. Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion. You can't stop being happy. Well, I'm happy. You're happy, man. Of course, the finish of this match came. Maurice was ringside, and she gave the Miz. It looked like brass knucks. Gave her something that he put on his fingers. Hit Daniel Bryan. He's a heel. Heel should never win clean. So I have no problem with the way that went down. And it was very. It was just a really good match. I will say I think my expectations were probably too high for this match because I thought it was going to be better, but it was still a good match. They went in a different direction than I anticipated they would go in, but I enjoyed it. It was a solid matchup, a lot of physicality. I love that the crowd, when the Miz would try to steal Daniel Bryan's things, there was a loud no chant. That was really the only time they would get up, is when they were doing no or yes. So good match, but I think it would have been a great match if the crowd was more into it, because the crowd can definitely impact the match. And this is one of those situations where if the crowd was just hot the entire match, I think my opinion of it would be a little bit higher. But nothing to complain about. They gave them plenty of time. I didn't time it, but I think it was at least 20 minutes. And I think it was more than that. I want to say probably close to 25. This was, I have to go back and double check, but I'm pretty confident saying this was the longest match on the card. But I really enjoyed it, and it's clearly this feud is not over, which I didn't think this was going to be a one and done. This match is going to continue, and it's already been advertised that SmackDown 1000, which myself and Bill will be attending, that Daniel Bryan and The Miz are going to fight at that show. So this feud is going to continue. This is not the last time we've seen these two in the ring, so we should definitely get some more from these guys. So moving on here, Shinsuke, Nakamura, and Jeff Hardy. Shinsuke Nakamura, of course, retained the title here. He beat Jeff Hardy to hold on to his championship. Get that a second. All right, and the match itself was solid. The beginning of the match was the best part, where they just made fun of each other. Like Nakamura was making fun of the delete chant, and then Jeff Hardy was making fun of the "come on." So that was the best part of the match, was the comedy elements in it. The match itself. This is the first time, and I probably should have noticed it before, but this is really the first time I've watched Jeff Hardy in the ring and noticed that he is a lot slower than he used to be. And he's getting older. That's just going to happen. A lot of wear and tear on his body. But I noticed that his classic moves, he wasn't hitting them at the pace that he normally does. And it showed a lot in this match to me. So, you got the greatest hits from Jeff Hardy. He took a vicious swanton bomb on the ring apron that Nakamura rolled out of the ring for, and that set up the finish. Let me check up here on the chat. A Shield celebration tomorrow? I wouldn't rule that out of the equation, Milo. We'll go ahead and we'll move on to the next match that we're going to talk about, which ironically, good timing by you, Milo. Oops. Let me get the graphic up. And there we go. Ironically, spoiler alert, Seth Rollins defeated Dolph Ziggler to become the new Intercontinental Champion. He's now a two-time Intercontinental Champion. With Roman winning, I don't think a Shield celebration is completely out of the equation. I think it would be cool. I mean, they're all baby faces right now. Dean and Seth are getting along. Roman and Seth are getting along. So there's no reason not to kind of bring them together. I've always said this, like, just because you're a faction or you're a group doesn't mean you always have to do everything together. You can do your own thing and kind of help each other out, but not always have 6-man tag matches. So, but yeah, this is the match that kicked off the show. It was another just stellar performance with Ziggler and Rollins. McIntyre and Ambrose did not play a huge part in this match, which is ideal. They just were involved a little bit in the finish, and they never attacked either of the guys in the match. They just kind of attacked each other, caused a distraction, which set up Seth Rollins to be able to hit a super kick, and then hit a curb stomp to beat Dolph Ziggler. The rumors are that at Hell in a Cell, which is the next pay-per-view coming up here in September, that we're going to get Rollins and Ambrose versus Ziggler and McIntyre in a tag team match. Hopefully that would be in a cell. I would assume it would be, but it's one of those things you never know. But Ziggler and Rollins could work for as long as they want. I'm not going to get bored with it. McIntyre is just hitting on all cylinders. Dean Ambrose looked great coming back. It looks like he's kind of taken his character in a more serious component too. Like, I don't see him smiling at all. I don't see him trying to be like the cool guy Ambrose. He just seems like he's the badass Dean Ambrose, which is the Dean Ambrose I want to see. And I think most fans would agree with me on that. They don't really care to see, jokey Dean Ambrose. So, congratulations to Seth Rollins. Big night for the Shield, guys. Roman finally beating Brock. Seth getting the title back. So, all in all, pretty good night for the Shield guys. So, this I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. This next match, what happened in this match? Well, actually, what happened after this match got the biggest pop, got the biggest reaction of the night, in my opinion, and that was when Becky Lynch seemingly turned heel. You never know with these things, but I'm pretty confident that's a heel move. So, for those of you who weren't watching it, just to kind of recap it here, the end of the match came when Becky Lynch had Carmella in the disarmor. Charlotte came from behind, hit the natural selection, pinned Becky 1, 2, 3. Charlotte celebrating the ring. Becky goes up and hugs her. They're celebrating together, showing the respect that they have for each other. Becky gives her another hug, and then gets beat the shit out of Charlotte. You could kind of see it coming, but the crowd reacted great to it. Becky was definitely the most over person in this match. Crowd loved it. They marked out hard when Becky turned. And I will say this. I said this to Bill after the match, that I think they should have done this in reverse. I think Becky should have won and Charlotte should have turned. Because I think Becky's a great babyface. I think the crowd loves her. They love to cheer for her. And I think Charlotte is a natural heel. She's a flair. That's kind of what they do. So that's the one thing I would have tweaked about that, is just done it in reverse. Especially with that crowd, I think you could have gotten real heat on Charlotte for turning. Hi, Todd. Todd's making an appearance on the show here, guys. Bill's going to try to take Todd away.
Yeah.
Say hi. Bill's not feeling well, guys, so. Anyways, but yeah, that's the only thing I would have changed about the way this all went down. I think Charlotte would have been better turning heel here, but I'm curious to see what a heel Becky Lynch looks like. We've never really seen that in the WWE, so I'm very excited to see if she can pull it off. And I mean, who knows? Maybe she'll be a badass heel. Sorry, guys. Todd does not want to go upstairs, and Bill wants him to go upstairs. So, bit of a distraction off camera, but that's fine. The match itself was solid. Honestly, this entire pay-per-view, guys, I really enjoyed it. Usually during these, we talk about how we like NXT TakeOver better than the event. This is the first time maybe ever that I can think of that I enjoyed the pay-per-view more so than like the NXT TakeOver the night before. So I really enjoyed SummerSlam. This was a solid women's match. This is a solid match, period. Women or men. There's a lot going on off camera right now. Jesus Christ. Sorry guys. Sorry. Let me check up here. Let me check them on the chat while this is all going All right. The Miz sucks, Milo. All right. I just found out that me and Saki live in Chicago. That's cool. I feel like you should have known you live in Chicago, but whatever. If Seth and Dean versus Dolph and Drew was in a cell, just take my flipping money already. I agree. I'd be all for that. D'Angelo, agreed. Becky's heel turn was justifiable. Yeah, that's the one thing I will say. Character-wise, it makes sense because it's all been building. They've been playing up the story that, Becky can't win the big one and she keeps just getting, screwed over. So the storyline reason for her to turn heel made sense. And storyline-wise, it really wouldn't have made sense to see Charlotte turn heel. But I just think long-term speak, I think that would have been better for both of their characters. But you're 100% right that it was justifiable and storyline-wise, the way it was building up, it was a logical next step, and it made sense. But that's just me. I really like Becky Lynch. I like to cheer for her, but I cheer for the heels anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, the match itself was solid. I can't really say anything bad about it. So, Red Viper, hey dude, did you think this year's SummerSlam was better than 100% Red Viper? This is one of the best SummerSlams I think they've had in years. Top to bottom, there wasn't anything that was bad. Honestly, there was surprises, there was twists, and there was turns, there was great matches. So it was a really, really good event, guys. I 100%. What did you think, Red Viper? Did you think this year was better than last year? I 100% do. I really enjoyed it. All right, next to what probably might have gotten the best reaction in our household. And that was Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. For those of you who did not see it, Baron Corbin Finn Balor brought back the Demon. The Demon, we have not seen the Demon in about a year. I think the last time we saw him was at last year's SummerSlam. And it wasn't announced. It was just the lights went out, and we looked at each other, we're like, is the Demon coming out? I think the Demon's coming out. And then the bump, bump, that music hit that he uses when he plays the Demon came out. It didn't really make sense, to fight Baron Corbin. But hey, anytime the Demon comes out, no one's going to be mad about it. So that was cool. And it was a straight squash match. Baron Corbin sold it well that he was terrified of the Demon. I got to give him credit there. He really sold that. And guys, he got no offense in. Zero. It was a squash match. Finn Balor destroyed Baron Corbin. So I'm curious to see where Finn goes on from here. Because, that was a straight-up squash match. I'd love to see him eventually get in the Intercontinental picture again. Maybe, I think he should get an Intercontinental Championship run. And then, just see where things go. Maybe that can help propel him to the main event. But, yeah, I was great to see the Demon back. There's times where I've always wondered why he hasn't brought it back. Like at WrestleMania comes to mind, but it was great to see it tonight. And especially because you didn't expect to see it. No, I didn't see it leaked anywhere. They weren't teasing you're going to fight the Demon at SummerSlam. Nothing like that. It just happened. And that was great. Surprises were not short, few tonight. So that was awesome to see. Not a whole lot to talk about match. As I said, it was a straight squash match. Finn Balor. There was 3 squash matches tonight. Finn Balor, Rousey, and Alexa was a squash match, and then also Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens. It was just a straight squash match. So, all right, let's go on here. All right, and this is going to be the last match we're going to talk about, guys, and that is AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. This was a match I think a lot of people had high expectations for because they have a great, history with each other and have a great history of putting great matches on, in their TNA days. So, it was a good match. I don't think it was the best they've had. I think it was fine. It definitely was good. The best part of the match, though, and what we're mainly going to talk about, was the end of the match. Samoa Joe is getting the upper hand on AJ, grabs a microphone mid-match, climbs onto the top of the announce table, looks at AJ Styles' wife, who was in the crowd, and said, I know I made a promise that your daddy's coming home, but he's not. But it's okay. I'm going to be your new daddy, or I'm your new daddy. He said something along the line. I'm not quoting it, because that's the gist of it. And AJ Styles lost his damn mind, as he should. Beat the crap out of Samoa Joe. Steel chair DQ finish. AJ retains the title. Joe technically wins the match. That was great. That was a great moment. We all were just like, oh shit, I can't believe he said that. So that was really fun to see and witness for sure. So this feud will definitely be continuing. It's already been announced at SmackDown 1000 that it's going to be AJ versus Samoa Joe for the title. I expect to see them fight at Hell in a Cell for the title. I think this is going to be kind of like Nakamura and AJ, where we get this match several times over the next few months, probably up until Survivor Series, is my guess. That they're going to continue this feud for the next few months. Because look, these two guys know each other really well. This story that they're telling has gotten really personal. It's very deep, and you can run with that. What's up, Nathan? SmackDown 1000 is October 16th, I believe. I'll be there. It's in Washington, D.C. We live in Virginia, so it's not that far away from us. We'll be there, and we're definitely looking forward to it. It should be a fun event. Lots of legends coming back, so it'll definitely be fun. But yeah, I definitely think that this is going to be something that is going to continue for a long time, for sure, between AJ and Samoa Joe. And if they can keep telling this really personal, deep story like they're telling now, it's just going to get better. So I want to talk about just kind of SummerSlam as a whole right now. We kind of gone through all the matches that I really want to talk about. We have Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens. I'm not really going to touch on that because it was a squash match. It ended really quick, guys. But this is why, events like this is why I think we're all fans of pro wrestling in the WWE. It was a fun event. They had some great matches. It had some twists and turns, things that we didn't see coming, some surprises, a heel turn. I mean, just really good stuff top to bottom. And it was fun. It was really, this was WWE close to their best. I don't think this is their best. I think they can do better. But this is WWE close to their best. And it's frustrating because you see an event like this, and then we'll watch a Raw. We'll watch the next pay-per-view. And it just sucks. It's not very good. This is the best WWE pay-per-view I've seen in years. I can't remember the last one I would say is better than this, but this is the last one in a long time. It was just really good top to bottom. There wasn't anything bad. I mean, there's some things that I would change, but nothing that was bad that was like, oh, God. There's nothing that I wanted to get up and leave or just look at my cell phone the entire time. So a really fun event here. Red Viper, I was shocked too. I thought Finn and Corbin match was going to be a filler until the Demon. Yeah, that was the thing. I had no expectations for that match. I thought it was just going to be I thought it was going to be like a Raw match, pretty much. And you got the Demon coming out. That changed everything. And then the fact Baron Corbin got no offense, it was crazy. So this was a fun pay-per-view. Yeah, I agree with you, Red Viper. It wasn't predictable. We actually did a sheet, all of us in the house. We did where we wrote down who we thought were going to win. And I think I only got like 6 or 7 right. And I think the person who got the most got like 8 right and that was including the pre-show, which was, I think, total like 13 matches. So it wasn't a predictable card. And even some matches that were predictable, we all predicted Finn Balor was going to win, but you got that twist in there, you know? We all thought Roman Reigns was going to win, but then you got the twist of Braun Strowman coming out saying he's going to cash in immediately following the match. And you're like, what? We were all like, I have no idea what's going to happen right now. And so it was just a really good event. I wish the WWE would do more like this because they can't. This wasn't an overly complicated event. It was just good storytelling, good matches, and some twists and turns thrown in. And I feel like you can do that on a consistent basis. You can't do it every time. You're never going to hit 1,000. But you can do this on a more consistent basis. And I feel like we can all agree that they have this in them. And so I want to see the WWE take this and move forward because this event is going to get buzz online. I haven't checked Twitter since the end, but I know this event is going to get a lot of buzz in the wrestling community. And some casual fans maybe were watching tonight, or they'll hear about it, and they'll tune into Raw tomorrow. Or they'll tune into SmackDown on Tuesday. And then if you just put on a shitty show, or a typical Raw or SmackDown, you did this great show almost for nothing. So, what do you predict tomorrow for the championship? I don't think anything will really happen. I think the rumors online is that Kevin Owens is going to move into the title picture for Raw. So I could see something like that. I think it was Milo had the idea of doing a Shield celebration. I would love to see that. It would make perfect sense. It would be something that would get a lot of people to tune in to watch it. So I would love to see that. Definitely want to see what Rousey does. The one thing, it seems like we're going to get a lot of maybe kind of the same feuds moving forward, which is fine if you keep them fresh and you keep them interesting. But I don't really have much of a prediction for tomorrow. I don't think we're going to. I think maybe Kevin Owens gets involved is the only thing I can really predict in terms of the Universal title. Now that Lesnar's out of the company, as we know of, who do you think will go for the Universal Championship? Yeah, I kind of guess answered that. And because Lesnar may not be out of the company. There was rumors today that him and Vince were meeting today before SummerSlam to talk about a contract extension. So we'll see what happens there. Who will beat Ronda Rousey? Charlotte. I know Charlotte's the champion right now. The way I see this going is Charlotte will drop the title between now and the Royal Rumble. And Charlotte will win the Women's Royal Rumble and then challenge Ronda Rousey. And then she'll beat Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. Yeah, that's the thing now. So, Strowman's been the Money in the Bank winner for a few weeks or a few months, really. But you have no Universal Champion there, so you can't really tease the cash. And they haven't even teased. This was the first time they teased it was tonight. I don't think he cashes in tomorrow. I think Reigns is going to run with the title for a bit. I say maybe post Survivor Series is when you can maybe start to expect a Braun Strowman cash in, or maybe he holds it for Mania, and he cashes in to be in the main event of WrestleMania, be the first guy to do that. There's a lot of ways they can go with it, but I don't think he cashes in tomorrow. I think they want to give Roman a little bit of a run with the title, especially after how long this feud has been. But we'll see. I mean, there have been reports that they're advertising at future house shows, like in October or November. It's going to be Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman, which usually who you're working with at house shows is generally a guy that you're going to work with, at pay-per-views and things. So, who knows? But if I had to predict it, I wouldn't say the cash-in happens tomorrow. I think maybe we get a tease-in of a cash-in, but I don't think it happens. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to give you kind of my overall score of SummerSlam. We'll go out of 1 to 10. I'm going to go at 8.7. I really, really enjoyed this pay-per-view, guys. And NXT TakeOver was great last night. I had more fun watching SummerSlam, which, as I mentioned earlier, I haven't been able to say that before, that a TakeOver, I didn't like a TakeOver as much or more than, the actual pay-per-view. So 8.7 for SummerSlam. I thought it was a great show. A lot of fun. It seems like all of you guys are kind of the same boat as I am, that you guys enjoyed the event. Here we go. Hey, what's up, Ollie Nation? Welcome, man. Think anyone is going to be called up from NXT? Let me think. I don't think so. And I could be wrong on that, but the only person I would say maybe would be like an Adam Cole, but they're still doing the Undisputed Era thing. That's still hot, so I don't think so. I don't think Velveteen Dream's getting called up. I don't think Gargano's getting called up. I don't think Aleister Black is getting called up. So, yeah, I don't really see anyone getting called up. Maybe the one person, if I had to say soon, if I had to say someone that I had to predict was getting called up soon, it would be Shayna Baszler. That would be the one person that I would say could be called up soon. And I say that because there's been rumors online that they're going to finally do the 4 Horsewomen versus 4 Horsewomen match at Survivor Series. So you could call up Shayna Baszler for that. Lars Sullivan, yeah, I mean, maybe. I'm not a big Lars Sullivan guy. He's big. He's a Vince guy for sure. I'm sorry to hear that, Ollie, but I can certainly understand. Hopefully, you guys you can make it some other time, but if you can't, I certainly understand. But yeah, I don't know. I know some after SummerSlam, some guys typically get called up, but I don't know. I've been saying this to Bill for a long time. I really don't want anyone to get called up from NXT anymore because it seems like a lot of the NXT guys don't really get a run, or they don't get as good a run. They're not as good as they were in NXT, and NXT is a strong brand right now that I feel like you can just kind of let these guys be NXT guys. And I know that may not, and the way the formula is for NXT, it probably really realistically wouldn't work because you're bringing in new guys constantly, and you can't just have everybody stay there. So that's why I would love to see these guys just stay. But realistically speaking, it's not going to happen. So, but just to recap, you guys, SummerSlam was fantastic. I enjoyed the hell out of this show. It was a lot of fun. I wish WWE could put on more events like this because I know they can. It's not like this is something that is so difficult to do that they can never do this again. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. It was a great show, and I'm actually looking forward to Raw tomorrow because I want to see where they go from here. I want to see if they can keep this momentum up. And I love Milo's idea. They should 100% do a Shield celebration. That's a great idea. They should 100% do that. That would be something that would get a lot of eyes on Raw tomorrow. Keep this momentum going. And why not put the Shield back together? They're all there. They're all healthy. They're all friends. So put them together. It makes perfect sense. We can get that Shield run for a few months and then set up an Ambrose heel turn on Rollins to set up a Mania match. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'll have a question for you guys for the chat. Now that it seems like Brock's leaving, Roman's champion. You have to assume that Roman Reigns is going to be in the main event for the Universal title, either whether he's champion still or he's challenging for the title. So I'm going to assume Roman Reigns is in the Universal title match at Mania. Who do you think challenges Roman Reigns for the Universal title? I have two people in mind. At WrestleMania, of course. I have two people in mind. I have two matches in mind, I should say. One would be Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman holds Money in the Bank, and he says, I'm cashing it in at WrestleMania, and I want my WrestleMania match in the main event. That's one way. The other match if I wasn't going to do that, the way I would go is I would do a Shield triple threat. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins for the Universal title. That would be something that's the main event of WrestleMania worthy. And I would have Dean Ambrose be the heel in that match. Yeah, I mean Seth Rollins 1-on-1. I'd rather see Rollins and Ambrose go 1-on-1 at Mania if I had to predict, one of them. Yeah, all right, D'Angelo. Yeah, you're right there with me. But yeah, I mean this is gonna be the first time in a long time that Brock Lesnar's not at WrestleMania, most likely. At that time, he'll probably be in the UFC. And yeah, so. But guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Bill wishes he could have done the show, but he's just not feeling great. But thank you guys for checking us out. If you guys are new to us, please hit that subscribe button. We do a lot of fun content on here. And we do our Raw live stream, which we'll be doing tomorrow night, of course. We have our flagship show, The Voice of Wrestling, with Chris Cash and Nick Paglino. That's an awesome show, guys. If you don't already check it out, you should 100% check it out. And you just hit that subscribe button, and you can get a notification for all the content we do here. We've got great interviews. We just got a lot of great stuff that we're doing here. So make sure you like us on Facebook, Voice of Wrestling. And also, of course, check out our website, thevoiceofwrestling.net. We break all the biggest news. We have great lists, editorials. So definitely want to make sure you check that out as well on our website. So we got some big stuff planned for the second half of this year. We're already in the second half, but you guys know what I mean. We got some big stuff planned for the Voice of Wrestling, some stuff that's really exciting that I can't talk about yet, but just know that we're going to have some really awesome stuff here moving forward that I think you guys are going to be really excited for. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us for joining me for the SummerSlam review show. Definitely come back tomorrow and hang out with us while we do our Raw live stream and discussion show. So good night to everybody. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night for the Raw live stream.